Hey guys, it's Paul Jang, and today we're going to be talking about Launch Control. This is a review for it. So I used Launch Control some time ago when the pricing was a little bit cheaper. Um, okay, so the way it works is it's a text messaging campaign. My dashboard, they got rid of it after I canceled it. So that tells you something how I feel about Launch Control. I did get a deal from it, but in terms of in terms of the time commitment, it just wasn't worth it for me, and I didn't want to hire someone additional. So I use the light. The light is probably as much as you really need to go, especially in the beginning. And when I was doing it, it was 297. So I think a month ago they increased the prices to 497, and they're saying that they have certain costs to update their system. This is actually not the most expensive part of Launch Control. It's actually pulling the data and skip tracing the data for phone numbers. So what I mean by that is you get 10,000 outbound messages, and then a- after that, basically it's unlimited contact uploads. What that means is you'll send out up to 10,000 in a month, and then on the back end, you'll any follow-ups from the previous month, you'll be able to follow up on all those people into the future. So it has a compounding effect of reaching out to people that you have texted in the past that might not have responded or responded um, in a neutral way. You can follow up with them without counting towards your 10,000. Okay, so I just want to run through some of the numbers with you, just so you really understand the underlying pricing of this. So 497, for me, I paid the 300, so it's essentially $200 more than what I paid for it, and um, the cost here for 10,000, let's say you use the cheapest data service, which would be PropStream. So 10,000 records would be about a penny for on PropStream. So, a penny, this would run up to $100. But skip tracing is 15 cents. So if you use the calculator here, um, if it's 15 cents and you have 10,000 records, this is going to run 1500. So, if you were going to use the full amount for 10,000, which I would highly recommend if you are going to do this, um, you're going to pay 1500. The cheaper way to do this is actually to use PropStream's skip tracing tool. So, like I'm gonna say PropStream because this is what I did to keep costs as low as possible. You did pricing, and so you'd pay the $100, and you would also pay this $27 a month for, instead of 12 cents, 10 cents on the dollar. So what it would run you is, instead of 15 cents, this would be $1,000. So really, you'd pay 1,000 for skip tracing with PropStream, plus the $127, plus the 497 for the software, and you're talking about a monthly investment of 1624. Now this dollar amount is kind of on the lower end, because you're assuming that all 10,000 records, so this is 10,000 records, you're assuming that you'll get phone numbers for all of them, and that's not the case. You'll probably get between 5 to 8,000 records. So what that means is you're gonna have to pay for extra data, if you want the full 10,000 messages that you're going to send, which you would want to do. So um, this is on the low end per month. Now, this amount doesn't really bother me as much as the time commitment. But if you're going to compare that, like, with mailer costs, let's just say it runs 65 cents per mailer. Um, so this would be 0.65. You could run about 1,000 mailers, and with 1,000 mailers, um, you would um, you should be able to get a deal. If not, you'd be pretty close. I'd say, like, It's closer to 2000. I think I'm doing this wrong here. Hold on. 65 cents. 1624. Okay, yeah, sorry. I'm doing the math wrong. If it's 1624, right? And then let's just use the calculator over here. 1624, 0.65 for 2000 mailers, which is roughly what I would say gets you a deal. So for a little bit less of the money of, skip tracing, I should be able to get a deal, right? The thing with mailers, this number is kind of based on using some kind of mailing company. Pebble offers to owners, or Click to Mail. I use Click to Mail. Rocking Mail is also popular, and the price ranges kind of vary. But for roughly the same amount of money, I could do a mail merge and save that time from texting people, going back and forth, and I would get a deal. So I've gotten a deal with the text messaging campaigns, but the thing for me is, after you send 10,000 messages, you will get a response of, a certain percentage, let's say like 10% of people, responding back. So that's like, in 10,000 a month, that's 1,000 responses, right? Give or take. And you're basically vetting through those people. So you're gonna have to spend a couple days, every day for a couple. If you're gonna do it every day you're gonna spend a couple hours just vetting through this. And it's not like you could send 10,000 all on one day. It's at least when we did it, it basically ran. You could send it out every day for like 600 messages, every day up to 10,000. So that's kind of how it operated. And so that's what you did to basically get your deals, vet out the deals, and then get your deal. So I'm not saying that it's not possible to get a deal from Launch Control or text messaging campaigns. I just spoke to someone recently about using batch leads, and there's different tools out there for messaging. I just think mail is just a little bit easier. I did find that Launch Control, it is a little bit more farming. So if you are working in a particular city or town or county that you were going to do like land development, and this is where you were going to invest, I think Launch Control is really good for that. If you are focusing on houses, Launch Control is really good for that, because you could basically hit up all these different houses with text messaging. And in those situations, I might prefer text messaging over mailers. Because text messaging is pretty instant. You get an instant response. You can follow up with people. Because there's only a certain number of houses that might fit your criteria. Whereas land, you could go in multiple states and multiple counties pretty easily. I know there's wholesalers that operate across states, but they usually have partnerships within each city or town that they work in, and they leverage those relationships to do wholesale deals. But in most cases with houses, you're going to go check the property out to see if there's damage. In land, that's not the case. So the Launch Control system, I found that it's there are people that use it for land, but there is this impression, you see primary, secondary mortgages. There's this like underlying, uh, emphasis that this is kind of like for housing wholesaling people. And so land investors might adjust to it, but just know it's kind of geared towards that. The app, when at least when we're using, they said that they'll update the app, and so I wasn't really too worried about it if the app was good, but there were glitches in it from when I used it. I know they're like continuously making updates, but it the dashboard on the desktop is really good, but it wasn't the case for the app. So it's not like I could go, send out a bulk, mass text, and then later on, like as I'm, doing life, just respond to text quickly. They have an automated quick message, which is really helpful. But if the app is glitchy, you can't get out of your computer. So you're literally sitting in your desktop for hours waiting for people to respond. People will respond, but people don't always respond immediately. I mean, some people do, but sometimes people respond an hour or two. So you're just sitting there, respond quick. You're doing a quick response to them, seeing how they respond, telling them you'll get back to them. It's just the time commitment for me was just not worth it. So with that said, I have gotten a deal from Launch Control. And so if you are I do think it has like a scaling, thing. The more you are, doing these text messaging campaigns, the more it kind of compounds. Whereas mailers, it's kind of like you sent it and that's it, right? And you're only gonna reach back to that owner if you send out another mailer, right? So I might spend 65 cents to do a one-time outreach, but the only way I'm gonna reach out to them again, if I'm doing mailers only, is to spend another 65 cents to reach that owner. Whereas Launch Control, I paid the 1 penny to get the data, 10 cents to get the deal, and then whatever the software cost is divided by the 10,000 messages. Like after that, it's going to be free. So every after my initial expense, every time for the next whatever amounts months we're gonna go after, it's going to be free to reach out to them and just say like, hey, I'm still interested in your land, let me know if you're interested. And so there initially there's no cost savings compared to mail, but over time there's cost savings because of that compounding nature of you being able to follow up on these text messaging leads, um, which wouldn't necessarily be the case for for mailers. And so in that scenario, if you're okay with spending at least that amount, you're okay with spending that time commitment, I think it's good. In most scenarios, you're gonna have to, unless you just like sitting in a desk for a couple hours, inevitably you'll hire either a virtual assistant from the Philippines to kind of manage the system for you, and just sit there and answer these text messages, and then you get like the leads afterwards, or you hire someone on the U.S. side and manage it for you. But in either case, now you're adding another element. You're getting the software, you're getting the data, you're getting someone to pick and choose, do these text messaging campaigns and respond. And you're gonna feed it. You're gonna click on the button. There's a lot of steps with this, with the text messaging campaigns that complicate the land investing business model. And I know some people really like it, but for myself, I basically canceled, you know, and I just prefer direct mail for my leads. But for those that are looking for cheaper over the long term, and you're okay with putting in that time, I think Launch Control is really good. But overall, if you want a overall, I just think direct mail is better. I guess that's the best way to put it. You could automate Launch Control with these hires and stuff, but then you're managing them. So you're weighing all these costs out. So Launch Control is, I think, a little bit more advanced. It's not something I would really look into in the beginning stages of a land investing career or side hustle or just investments. It's really kind of on the back end, especially when you figure out certain counties. Again, if you're a housing wholesaler, I think Launch Control is really good. So, with that said, that's our review of Launch Control. Not the best. Some glitches. They're continuously updating things. It looks like they're increasing prices over time. Um, and that's that. If you like this video, subscribe and like. We're starting to. It's my YouTube stuff is starting to grow like a lot more. And I remember just recently it was like 70 subscribers, and I was like telling my wife, "My goodness, is this ever gonna grow?" But I really appreciate you guys looking at it. If you're interested in land investing in general, it is how my wife and I got out of our jobs. We were teachers for years, and basically bought land and sold it for cash and for owner financing. That owner financing brought a stable revenue stream for us, and it's allowed us to do other things that we want to do in our lives. So if you're interested in that, it's going to be in the description below. Otherwise, have a good day, and hope to see you around. Thanks. Bye.